there, and welcome to the very first episode of the Curious You podcast. I'm your host, Nina, and I'm so excited you're here. Whether you're listening on your commute, during a quiet moment, or while juggling life, thank you for sharing the space with me and for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I can truly not believe that I'm holding a microphone and recording this episode today. If somebody would have told me that just 2 months ago, I would have said, never, ever will you see me recording a podcast. But here I am. And life has truly been a whirlwind lately between juggling family life, full time work, and side businesses. Things have never felt busier. I just dropped off my kids at kindergarten, and I'm literally recording this episode in the tiny window between a meeting and prepping lunch. There's an open suitcase on the left side of my chair that is calling me to be packed as we're heading off on a little family getaway to Sicily this week. And my phone keeps reminding me to follow up with the printing company I found for my very first children's book. The to-do list just keeps growing, and honestly, recording this podcast felt like a far-off dream just a month ago. But here's the thing. I've been learning to honor my inner voice lately, and showing up here and creating this space for real and curious conversations, it finally feels like the most natural next step. Because through all the chaos, one thing has become crystal clear to me. I am not the only one feeling this way. So let me ask you something. Have you ever felt deep down that you're meant for more? Like there's a version of you waiting to be seen, but you're really not sure how to get there. If that resonates, you're in the right place. This podcast is for women who are ready to break free from routine, reconnect with themselves, and step into the life they know they're meant for. Each week, we'll dive together into mindset, self-discovery, and growth with real talk, stories, and tools you can use right away. But before we go any further, I wanted to start by introducing myself, who I am, why I started The Curious You, and how this podcast came to life. So let's begin there. So, who am I? Well, in reality, I'm just like you, a woman who's navigating the beautiful, messy, and sometimes overwhelming journey of life. I'm a wife, a mother, a daughter, and a friend, and I've spent the last several years trying to balance everything while at the same time figuring out who I really am and what I'm truly capable of. To share a bit of a backstory, I was born in Bosnia and Herzegovina in 1994 during the Bosnian War. My parents did a pretty great job at protecting me from the negative effects of the war, and all I remember is having a safe and loving childhood. Mom and Dad, if you're listening, thank you so much, and lots of love to you. My mom's and grandmother's soups, pies, and mashed potatoes are something I will carry with me always. When I was 6, my father got a job in New Delhi, India. So from a war-torn Bosnia and Herzegovina, we moved to a whole different world, the land of culture, spices, diversity, and spirituality. My parents decided to enroll me to a local school so that I can completely blend with the local culture and traditions. And blend I did. As I was the only foreigner in school, the kids found me, let's say, rather interesting and were always willing to help. I remember being very curious about their language and certain local traditions that I never saw before. But what I remembered the most was actually the school system. Each morning before starting classes, we would have a yoga or swim class, followed by gathering in the school amphitheater where we would offer respect to the country by singing the Indian national anthem. And only after that morning routine, we could start our classes. I remember feeling empowered, supported, and curious about the world around me. I also remember dancing in the monsoon between classes, learning how to meditate from an early age. I remember living with lizards in the same room, which, to be honest with you, I didn't appreciate it at the time. I remember eating from a banana leaf while sitting on the floor and talking about the universe and existential issues. While driving to school, I also remember seeing an array of poor people on the streets, and only a few minutes later, entering a whole different world where people seemed to have it all. I remember being exposed to all colors of life's contrasts, to a beautiful set of conflicting emotions, so to say, and to a variety of adults who were always ready to explain the world around me and to take part in meaningful conversations. India had really set the foundation for me for everything else that later came in my life. And little did I know that I would be carrying the little Nina from India and that she would navigate most of my decisions throughout my adult life. I loved to talk about life's mysteries ever since I was a child, and this probably had something to do with India as well and growing up in such an environment. I remember that for my 11th birthday, I begged my parents to buy me a telescope and that I would spend every night looking at the stars and fantasizing about my life. And when my parents would send me to a basketball class, I would come home very sad as I didn't have anybody to talk to. And my parents would laugh, being like, "But Nina, we're sending you to play basketball, not to talk to people." And this actually remained the biggest joke in the family for years to come. But little did we know at the time why I needed to build connection with people before anything else. So, as life went on, I fit into the society's expectations just wonderfully. I was trying hard to be the perfect daughter and played by the rules. High school, university, master's, check, check, check. I studied law in Moscow and later on went to do a master's in European law in Brussels. I initially wanted to study psychology, I remember, but since law ran in the family, I took the safe route. Working in Brussels was definitely a highlight of my adult life. I met so many inspiring people from all over the world, and I never regretted that decision for one moment. I learned how the world works, well, more or less, sat in the European institutions, met the world's leading politicians, sat at tables with incredibly wise people, and worked with leading global companies. It all seemed like a dream. I thought that was what I exactly wanted until I got pregnant with my firstborn, Sophia, and we moved to Vienna, where my husband was working at the time. That was when everything changed. The isolation that motherhood brought along with COVID was a hit in the wall, literally. It shook my entire belief system. And as usual, once the body slows down and is retreated somewhere quiet, your mind starts talking to you. Time spent at home with a baby and a laptop, in addition to a gazillion house chores, is literally life changing. All you mothers out there will know what I mean. In theory, I was living a life that looked really great on paper. I had the job, the family, the house, everything that society tells you will make you happy. I was ticking all the boxes: marriage, kids, promotions at work. And from the outside, it looked like I had it all together. I thought I just had to stop my thoughts and be grateful for what I have, because thinking about having more was simply bad. But something inside of me was missing. I felt stagnant. I kept hearing this voice, this quiet whisper that said, "There's more to you than this." I would try to ignore it. But the truth was, I wasn't feeling like the woman I knew I was meant to be. I knew there was more inside of me just waiting to be unleashed, and I was frustrated because I wasn't living up to my full potential. I'd get stuck in this cycle. The kids needed me, work was demanding, I'd get overwhelmed and just go through the motions. The thing is, I didn't even know where to start. I felt lost, disconnected, and unsure of how to break out of this autopilot way of living. But deep down, I knew I was capable of something bigger. I knew that just like you, I was meant to live fully, to feel fulfilled, and to be the woman I was always meant to be. The woman I was always imagining in my head. And that's where the journey began. I dove into books, courses, podcasts, and anything I could get my hands on that would help me shift my mindset. I started questioning everything I thought I knew about myself, about my worth, about my purpose, about my belief system, and the stories I tell myself. And the more I explored, the more I realized that I wasn't alone in feeling this way. So many women feel this pull, this sort of desire to break free from limiting beliefs and step into a more expansive version of themselves. But here's what I realized: no one was going to give me permission to live the life I wanted. No one was going to tell me it was okay to go after my dreams, to be confident, or to take up space in a room. The only permission I needed was from me. I will repeat this because this is so important. The only permission I needed was from me. And that's why I'm here, creating this podcast for you. The Curious You is for women just like me, women who know deep down that they're capable of so much more, but need a little guidance and encouragement to step into their full power. This is a space where we can explore all the things that hold us back, our beliefs, our fears, and the stories we tell ourselves, and take action to break free from them. This is truly not about perfection, it's about progress. And it's about giving yourself the permission to be you, to be a full version of yourself. And this is just the beginning of this journey. I truly hope that by sharing my story and the insights I've gained along the way, you've started to feel that little spark inside of you, knowing that there's more for you too. And it's all about taking those first steps, no matter how small they feel, and giving yourself the permission to break free from what's been holding you back. Thank you so much for being here with me on the very first episode of the Curious You podcast. I'm so excited to have you on this journey with me. And before I sign off, I wanted to leave you with a little thought. What's one thing you can do today, no matter how small, to be a step closer to the life you know you deserve? Take some time to think about it because I truly believe this is one of the most important questions you can ask yourself. And don't forget, this is all about progress. So let's keep taking little steps forward together. I can't wait to connect again soon. In the meantime, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode where we'll dive into something super exciting. In the next episode, we'll talk about the power of shifting your mindset and how changing just one thought pattern can unlock new possibilities for your life. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Until then, take care and stay curious. Kisses!